The text message came at 2:47 a.m. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, pulling me from sleep. I grabbed it, squinting at the screen, assuming it was an emergency. It was from my mother-in-law, Diane. "I know what you did. We need to talk. Tomorrow, alone." I stared at that message in the darkness, my husband Ryan sleeping peacefully beside me, and felt ice water run through my veins. What I did? I hadn't done anything. But Diane had been trying to destroy my marriage for 3 years. And apparently, she just escalated to a whole new level. What she didn't know was that I'd been gathering evidence on her for 6 months. And I just discovered a secret that would blow her perfect family image to pieces. She wanted to play games? Fine. Let's play. Let me back up and tell you how this all started. I met Ryan 5 years ago at a friend's wedding. He was the best man, I was a bridesmaid. Classic story. We danced, we talked all night, and by the end of the reception, I knew I'd met someone special. Ryan was kind, funny, a pediatric nurse who genuinely cared about people. He had this way of making you feel like you were the most interesting person in the room. When Ryan took me to meet her, she looked me up and down like I was livestock at an auction. "So, you're a teacher," she said. Not a question, a statement, with a tone that suggested teacher was synonymous with failure. "Yes, I teach 4th grade. I love it." "How nice." She turned to Ryan. "Your father and I were hoping you'd date someone more established. Remember that lovely doctor from your hospital, Catherine?" Ryan squeezed my hand. "Mom, I'm with Sarah now, and I'm happy." Diane smiled, but it was the smile of a shark. "Of course, sweetheart. I'm sure she's lovely." That was strike one. The wedding planning was a nightmare. Diane wanted to control everything: the venue, the guest list, the flowers, the menu. She'd call me daily with suggestions that were actually demands. "I think ivory would be better than white for your dress. My florist knows best. Don't waste time with other consultants. We should seat your family in the back. They won't know the difference." When I pushed back, she'd cry to Ryan. "I'm just trying to help. I don't understand why she's being so difficult." Ryan, caught between us, would ask me to compromise. "She means well. She's just excited." I'm saying she's trying to plan her wedding, not ours. Can you just go along with some of it for me? I did, because I loved Ryan. And I thought once we were married, things would get better. They didn't. After the wedding, Diane's campaign to undermine me went into overdrive. She had a key to our apartment. Ryan had given it to her for emergencies. She used it constantly. I'd come home from work to find her in my kitchen, reorganizing my cabinets. "You had the spices in the wrong order, dear." She'd let herself in on weekends while we were sleeping. "I brought breakfast. I knew you wouldn't have proper groceries." When I asked Ryan to get the key back, Diane sobbed. "He's my only son. You're trying to cut me out of his life." Ryan sided with her. "It's just a key, Sarah. Why does it matter so much?" "Because it's our home, our privacy." "You're being paranoid." That was the first real crack in our marriage. Then came the concerns. Diane started planting seeds, little comments, casual observations, always to Ryan, never directly to me. "Sarah seems tired lately. Is everything okay? I noticed some dishes in the sink when I stopped by. Is she keeping up with the house? Your father and I were just saying how thin you look. Is Sarah cooking for you?" Ryan started viewing me through her lens. Suddenly, my normal human tiredness was a problem. The occasional mess was a character flaw. My teaching schedule, which meant I got home at 4 p.m., somehow meant I wasn't contributing enough. My mom says became the start of too many sentences. We started fighting about small things that weren't really small, about her constant presence in our lives, about why he believed her criticisms over my explanations. "He's my mother," he'd say. "She is just looking out for me. I'm your wife. Shouldn't I come first?" But I didn't. Diane did. Always. The worst part was how she smiled at me. In public, at family gatherings, she was the picture of a loving mother-in-law, hugging me, complimenting me, telling everyone how lucky Ryan was. But in private, when Ryan wasn't looking, her mask slipped. "You're not what I wanted for him," she said once, her voice pleasant but her eyes like ice. "I married Ryan, not you," I replied. "Did you? Because from where I'm standing, I'm still the most important woman in his life, and I always will be." She was right, and I hated that she was right. Things came to a head on our second anniversary. I'd planned a romantic dinner at home, cooked Ryan's favorite meal, bought lingerie, had champagne chilling. I wanted to reconnect, to remember why we'd fallen in love. Ryan came home at 8 p.m., 2 hours late. "Where were you?" Mom called. She was upset. Dad's been distant and she needed to talk. "You were supposed to be here at 6. It's our anniversary." "I know, and I'm sorry, but she needed me. She was really upset." "I needed you. I've been sitting here for 2 hours." "Don't be dramatic. We can celebrate tomorrow." He walked past me to the bathroom. I stood there in my nice dress, surrounded by cold food and melting candles, and something inside me broke. Not broke like crying, broke like something hardening into steel. I wasn't going to beg anymore, wasn't going to compete for my own husband's attention. I was going to win. The next morning, I started investigating Diane. I didn't know what I was looking for, just something, anything that would give me leverage, proof that she wasn't the perfect mother and philanthropist she pretended to be. I started with social media, went through 5 years of photos, noticed patterns. Diane at charity events, always photographed, always perfectly posed. But in candid backgrounds, I noticed something interesting. The same man appeared in multiple photos over the past 3 years, never with Diane directly, but always in the background at her events. Tall, silver hair, distinguished looking. I reverse image searched him. His name was Marcus Bellamy, real estate investor. Married. Not to Diane. I hired a private investigator. Same woman, Rita, who'd helped me with other cases. Cost me $2,000 I'd saved from my teaching salary. "What are we looking for?" Rita asked. "I don't know yet, but this woman has been trying to destroy my marriage for 3 years. There's got to be something." Rita smiled. "There's always something." 3 weeks later, Rita handed me a folder. "Your mother-in-law is having an affair," she said simply. "What?" "With Marcus Bellamy, real estate developer. It's been going on for 4 years. They have a regular Thursday afternoon meeting at the Ritz-Carlton. Same suite every time. She tells her husband she's at her charity committee meetings." I opened the folder. Photos of Diane and Marcus entering the hotel, leaving together, kissing in parking garages. "There's more," Rita said. "Bellamy has been investing in some of Diane's charity projects, except the money isn't going to charity. It's going into a private account. Yours truly has been embezzling from her own foundation." I stared at the evidence. This perfect, judgmental woman who'd spent 3 years criticizing me, questioning my worth, undermining my marriage, she was a cheater and a thief. How much has she taken? About $200,000 over 3 years. Small amounts. Hard to trace unless you know what you're looking for. Does her husband know? No idea, but he's about to. That's when Diane sent me that 2:47 a.m. text. Ironic. I know what you did. We need to talk. Tomorrow. Alone. I almost laughed. What I did? Lady, you have no idea what's coming. I texted back, happy to talk. Let's meet at the Charity Foundation office. 2 p.m. Bring your financial records. I didn't hear back. The next morning, Diane called Ryan. Predictable. I could hear her voice through the phone, high-pitched and frantic. She's threatening me. She's trying to extort money from the foundation. Mom, slow down. What are you talking about? I took the phone from Ryan. Hi, Diane. I think we should all meet together. You, me, Ryan, and maybe your husband too, since we're talking about charity funds and afternoon meetings at the Ritz-Carlton. Silence. You have no idea what I have photos, bank statements, hotel records, a very detailed timeline from a private investigator. Wanna try again? Click. She hung up. Ryan stared at me. What the hell is going on? Your mother has been having an affair for 4 years. She's also been embezzling from her charity foundation, and she's been trying to destroy my marriage because I represent everything she's not: honest, loyal, and actually in love with my spouse. That's insane. My mother would never. I handed him the folder. He paled as he flipped through the photos, the bank statements, the investigator's report. Oh my God. Yeah. We called a family meeting. Ryan's father, David, arrived looking confused. Diane showed up looking like she'd aged 10 years overnight. I laid everything out on the dining room table. Photos, financial documents, hotel receipts. I want to be very clear, I said, my voice steady. I didn't do this to hurt you, David, or you, Ryan. I did this because Diane has spent 3 years trying to destroy my marriage, and I needed to understand why. Diane sat frozen. Turns out, I continued, she's been projecting, accusing me of not being good enough, not loving Ryan enough, not being committed enough, when the whole time, she was the one lying, cheating, stealing. David picked up the photos. His hands were shaking. 4 years? He whispered. Diane started crying. It's not what it looks like. It looks like you've been fucking someone else for 4 years while stealing from a charity. I'd never spoken like that before, never been that blunt, but I was done being polite. Ryan looked at his mother like he didn't recognize her. Betrayed. Why? Why would you do this? To Dad, to the foundation, to... He stopped. To Sarah. Diane's tears stopped. Her face hardened. Because she's not good enough for you. She's a nobody, a teacher making $40,000 a year. I wanted better for you. Better than someone who loves me? Better than someone who's honest and faithful? You're a hypocrite, Mom. I gave you everything, raised you, sacrificed for you, and you chose her over your own mother? You made me choose. Ryan stood up. You spent 3 years undermining her, making me doubt her, planting lies, and the whole time you were... He couldn't even finish. Disgusted. David was crying now. Silent tears running down his face. I need you to leave, he said to Diane quietly. David, get out of my house. Diane moved out that day. David filed for divorce within the week, discovered she'd taken even more money than we'd found, nearly $400,000 total from their joint accounts, the foundation, and hidden investments. The charity board removed her, started an audit. Criminal charges were filed for embezzlement. Marcus Bellamy's wife found out too. She filed for divorce, taking half his fortune in the settlement. And Ryan? Ryan sat on our couch for 3 days, barely speaking, just staring at the walls, working through 3 years of manipulation, seeing, finally, how his mother had poisoned him against me. I'm sorry, he finally said. I'm so sorry, Sarah, for everything, for not believing you, for putting her first, for letting her. His voice cracked. I know. How do you not hate me? Because you were manipulated by someone you trusted, by someone who's had 35 years of practice controlling you. But that stops now, or we're done. He looked at me. What do you need? Therapy for both of us. And you need to choose. Every day. Every decision. Choose me. Choose us. Not her. Not ever again. Done. Whatever it takes. We went to therapy. It was hard. Ryan had to unpack decades of enmeshment, had to learn boundaries, had to see how his mother had used guilt and manipulation to control him. Some days were good. Some days he'd still defend her. She's still my mom. She tried to destroy your marriage, our therapist would remind him. That's not love, that's control. Slowly, over months, Ryan changed. Started questioning things he'd always accepted. Started seeing patterns he'd never noticed. Started choosing me. We renewed our vows on our 3rd anniversary. Small ceremony. Just us and close friends. No family drama, no manipulation. I promise, Ryan said, sincere, to put you first, always. To trust you, to build a life with you that's ours, not anyone else's. I cried. Happy tears. Real, genuine tears because I finally had the partner I'd married, the man I'd fallen in love with. Diane pleaded guilty to embezzlement. Got 3 years probation and had to pay full restitution. Lost her position on every charity board, lost her social standing, lost her marriage. She tried to reach out to Ryan multiple times. Emails, letters, voice messages. I'm your mother. You can't abandon me. Family is everything. Ryan blocked her on everything. Family isn't everything, he told me one night. Love is. Respect is. You're my family now. She's just someone I used to know. The last I heard, Diane was living in a small condo downtown, working as an administrative assistant. No more Mercedes, no more galas, no more power. Marcus Bellamy moved to Florida after his divorce. David remarried 2 years later, a lovely woman named Patricia who treated Ryan like an adult, not a possession, who invited me to lunch and actually wanted to get to know me. Thank you, she said once, grateful, for exposing Diane. David says you saved his life. He would have spent his retirement being lied to if you hadn't. I was just protecting my marriage, I said. That's what strong women do. 5 years later, everything is different. Ryan and I have a daughter now. Her name is Emma. She's 2 years old and looks like Ryan but has my stubborn streak. We moved to a new house. No key for anyone except us. Our home, our rules, our life. Ryan's a charge nurse now. I made vice principal at my school. We're both thriving. Sometimes people ask if I feel bad about what happened to Diane. The honest answer? No. She spent 3 years trying to destroy something beautiful because it threatened her control. She lied, manipulated, stole, cheated. Everything that happened to her was the direct result of her own choices. I didn't ruin her life. I just refused to let her ruin mine. There's a lesson in this story that took me years to understand. When someone tries to make you feel small, inadequate, unworthy, especially someone in a position of power or influence, it's usually because they're projecting their own insecurities, their own failures, their own lies. Diane attacked me because I was everything she pretended to be: faithful, honest, genuine. And that threatened the facade she'd built her entire life around. The strongest thing I ever did wasn't exposing her affair or her embezzlement, but refusing to accept her version of who I was. She told me I wasn't good enough, that I didn't deserve Ryan, that I was a failure. And for a while, because Ryan was listening to her, I started to believe it. But then I remembered, I'm a good teacher, a good wife, a good person, and nothing she said could change that unless I let it. So I stopped letting it, and I fought back. They say the truth always comes out eventually, but sometimes the truth needs a little help. When someone tries to destroy your marriage, your happiness, your sense of self-worth, you have two choices. You can accept it. Let them win. Let them convince you that you're not enough. Or you can fight back. Not with cruelty, not with lies, but with truth, with evidence, with the unwavering certainty that you deserve better than someone else's manipulation and control. Diane lost everything because she built her life on lies. I almost lost everything because I was too afraid to expose them. The difference? I found my courage, and I used it. If you're dealing with a toxic in-law, a manipulative family member, or anyone who's trying to control your life, sincerely, document everything. Trust your instincts. And remember, you're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not overreacting. You're protecting yourself. And that's not just okay, it's necessary. Thank you for listening to the story. If it resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to stand up to someone who tried to control your relationship? How did you handle it? And if you want more stories about boundaries, justice, and finding your strength, I'll be here. This is Revenge Diaries, where the truth isn't always pretty, but it's always worth fighting for. See you next time.